Hi, welcome to vlog 2. We are drawing ever closer to those two big events. One, the World Cup 2018, and two, edgeofplay.com, the free online resource going live to everybody who wants to use it. In this vlog, I'll be looking at the World Cup preparation match between England and Costa Rica. So looking at the England side again, who I'm much more familiar with, I wanted to start by looking at the idea of squad rotation. Southgate, with the England team, decides to pretty much change everybody, apart from John Stones, from the Nigeria friendly into the Costa Rica game. So there's some pros and cons to that, things I can think of from a positive point of view. It gives you a chance to see other players, gives them a chance to fight for the position. So you've got someone like Sterling, who is going to be an important player for England. He's got a skill set that kind of marks him out from the rest of the squad, really. But you know, if Rashford puts in a good performance, which he did this time, puts a bit of pressure on him, and now he wants to get on again and make that position his own. So it can make a good competitive rivalry for positions, I suppose, as well. It could also be a freshness thing, giving players more rest time. Some of the negatives to this decision, well, is it a missed opportunity to get another game with the same group of players working together? For international managers, generally speaking, it can be months between games. Right before the World Cup, give them more time to get some cohesion between the players. Southgate seems to be making a very clear system for his team, and the players will fit into the system almost. He's happy for the players to have some freedom, but he wants the players to understand, whoever comes in, this is the system you play. This can be a real positive because players then, there's no grey areas with that situation. You know what to do when you come on in that position. In terms of formations, well, England again sticking to that system that Southgate is preferring. Loosely a 3-5-2. It's more of a 3-3-2-1-1 in this scenario here, with Vardy in this game very much the most advanced player in the forward line of Rashford dropping into these areas. Costa Rica, already known for playing a system with three defenders at the back. Something of a 3-4-3 kind of formation that Costa Rica played against England. Against Nigeria, second half, Nigeria matched up England's formation, and England just struggled for a little while, meaning they can test themselves against that, look for any development from the last friendly match. So one of the first things I wanted to look at from this game was about John Stones and how they can fully utilise him and his strengths. He's playing in the centre of the three, but for ideally getting on the ball a lot from that position and using his passing range. The striker kind of blocked off Stones straight away. It was just in this kind of area here, making Stones have to do a simpler pass. It was very difficult for Stones to get the space to do a more expansive ball from there because the angle the striker put himself at. He kind of offered Stones to play simpler balls, often into these areas. One thing Glenn Hoddle mentioned with that was maybe moving John Stones to the right centre-back position. This may free him up to have more space to play balls into these channels from that position where you can drive into this space more. When England in possession and they're moving up the pitch, John Stones could he move into this midfield area here? And they have this situation going on. So whilst in possession, he moves into this area, works alongside the set midfielder. Early on, they were trying to kill this space in here. Their players didn't stay wide like so. They were kind of coming in here, and they had this situation where they're saying, come into these areas, you can play into there. We don't want you to get through into these channels here, these inside channels. Can you get the ball into midfield enough? Henderson was working hard to get on the ball into these areas, but he wasn't getting much space to do so. So he was continually pressurised. The ball would end up going just straight back to where it had come from. Do we have someone with the subtlety of passing in there, with the confidence to receive on the half turn out and play a ball directly forward under pressure with people all around you? Because you've got three centre backs, your wing back can almost stay a bit wider. If it was a back four, your full back would tuck in, and then the switch is on, a diagonal switch. Your wing backs can be a bit more bold with their positioning, so the diagonal pass from the middle is not always as clear. So you may well have to make yourself play through this area here. If a team like Costa Rica are sending you continually out wide, back inside, back again, and across the other way, we're playing in here, they get to sit back into a shape. These areas get covered before you can attack them or exploit them, and you'd be a bit concerned about how much you're going to create. I thought Henderson actually grew into the game in that role. Watching him carefully to see, was he just wall passing the ball back to people that gave him. One in the second half, he put a nice little ball into this inside channel, but I think we need to see more of this, much more expansive passing from the middle. One of the important things with this is when you play into a midfield, you draw people towards that area. This means there's now gaps for other people to exploit and get on the ball. Every single one of these Costa Rican players here is now looking towards ball. Players can be making runs in behind the back line, making these kind of runs, whilst the focus is on the ball. Earlier on, the ball did get played a bit more direct on a few occasions. These balls do have an effect. If you play the ball over the top and it's a close run thing and Vardy's getting in behind Rashford, the pace of those two, it's very hard for defence not to then get gradually deeper. Costa Rican defence then just generally drop a bit more. It also meant that they dedicated 3 centre-backs to occupying one striker in Vardy. That kind of, in many ways, cancelled him out the game, but what that does for the team, well, it meant Rashford was then, from that point forward, he was then able to be dropping into these areas on the pitch, having space to run into. Another thing I noticed about the England performance was the pressing. Several times the ball came to the wing back. In that situation, do you want your wing back to be right in here? Are you concerned about this ball getting through and getting isolated 3 against 3 there? What England were able to do, quite cleverly, they freed up centre midfielders to do that job as well, particularly Delph. On this side, with Rashford, would come and press the ball aggressively and broke down any burgeoning attacks by the Costa Rican side. Like I mentioned in the Nigeria game, there's a fluidity about the positional changes in the England team. I think Delph had come in, got on the ball, and Henderson made a run to this kind of left midfield kind of area. The players all seem to be quite clear on what's expected of them in their positions, and if you change with someone, you understand what you're supposed to do there as well. Perhaps that was strongly shown as well with how many times Phil Jones in the first half was getting to these kind of areas on the ball. I'm not sure the Costa Ricans had a plan for that. I'm not sure Phil Jones had a plan for that either, to be honest, but it was good to see a lot of freedom about the way the England team are playing by Rashford as well. He looked like he'd had the chains taken off. If it went wrong, there was no one going to be straight on his back about that. The England DNA, the idea behind it, the philosophy behind that is playing through the thirds. You've got centre-backs all keen to get on the ball, making real efforts to make an angle for the keeper. Set of midfielders that are always asking for the ball. But there's certainly a real clarity about how they want to play in the first 2/3. The area we could say maybe that's still a work in progress is this area here. So if I just mark it out with a pen, we often call this zone 14. So in the hole here, this kind of area, you get the ball to this area, a great deal of goals are either created or scored from there. Silva, like De Bruyne, get on the ball in these areas and can pick a little pass through a gap, a little slide pass. Did England show enough of that nous, that craftsmanship in this area? What are you going to do if you need to break a team down? What are you going to do if you're behind in that kind of game? Loftus-Cheek did particularly well at turning and using his body's strength to get ahead of the man, and then he kind of drew the foul from there. I thought Delph played really well as well, particularly like when he moved to centre midfield actually. He's a really versatile player. I'm not seeing though them necessarily picking out the killer pass. They're dropping deeper and deeper and there's hardly any space. That's where you need real craft. Against Nigeria and Costa Rica, one thing in both games was the first half was noticeably better than the second half. They controlled the game more, they created more, they looked more dangerous, they looked quicker with their play, there was more movement. If you control the first half of the game, at half time, those 15 minutes, you've got a set of professional coaches and a manager of the opposition who are absolutely getting their heads together on every way they can disrupt the way you're playing, they can change the pattern of the game. If at the start of the second half, you don't give them something new to think about, you don't give that group of players who've just been sent out, this is how you stop what the England team are doing, if you don't give them something new to deal with, they can probably follow through what they're told to do at half time and make England struggle in the second half of games. If at half time there could be some kind of plan, it could be that for 5 minutes they're going to play the ball into a certain channel and play not through the midfield so much, but the wing back is going to bomb on early on in the half, and someone else like Delph would drop into that position, and we're going to target this and see if we can get this guy playing deeper for 5 minutes. What can you do to get the opposition to forget their game plan for the start of the second half and have to worry about something new you were doing? Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting. This video will be available on our Facebook page, it's on our YouTube channel and my personal YouTube channel as well. It'll be on the site when the site goes fully live very, very soon. And we just ask you to subscribe, to follow, so we can get a group of people interacting, communicating, and discussing tactics and ideas. The next blog will be after the World Cup has started, so lots to look forward to.